This is Nick Nelson, Mad Scientist of Muscle, and what I've got for you today here is a review of a very simple but very effective piece of training equipment. Now this is what's called a loading pin, and this is made by DMoose Fitness. That is the real name, as you can see. This is actually, ironically enough, I find the simpler a piece of equipment is, the more I can do with it. So the more complex something is, the more specialized its function. Whereas when you go in the other direction, the more basic something is, the more I find you can do a whole bunch of different things with it. And that's no exception with this loading pin. Now I'll give you another close-up again of it here. You can see it's very simple. It's got a hook on the top here. This is where you clip basically a carabiner. And I'll give you a demo here. We've got a single handle on here, and you basically just clip that right on. Now, you can do any sort of cable attachment. You can attach it directly to a cable weight stack if you want. You can also put weight plates on here, which is basically the main function of this, is you put weight plates on and you do exercises with basically the resistance of the weight plates. Now, it looks kind of like a kettlebell if you have the weight here and the handle here. You can do some sort of ish kettlebell movements with it. I wouldn't do anything with momentum, however, because this does swing around quite a bit. Now, in terms of durability, this thing's rock solid. This is made of solid steel. This is not going to bend or break without tremendous load on it, and basically it's probably going to hold up to pretty much anything you can throw at it. Now, there is only one issue that I found with this that you definitely want to be aware of as you're using this thing. Now, for ease of shipping, this actually unscrews. So you can see it's got the threads on here, and it's got the threads on the top here. Now, in order to set this up, you put that together like so. This is flat on the bottom, which is perfect, so you can set it on the ground very without any sort of tipping or anything like that. However, what I found is when you set a weight plate on there and you're using a single handle, if you do any exercise that involves any sort of spinning, or you find that the plates start to rotate a little bit, this can actually unscrew a little bit. So that is something to be aware of before you start any set. Make sure this is tight and locked down. But for me personally, I didn't find this to be any sort of issue that would keep you from getting and using this piece of equipment. Overall, it's a fantastic piece of equipment. I really like this thing. Like I said, the simpler the better as far as I'm concerned in terms of the uses you can get out of it. Now, I'll give you a quick demo here as to how to load this thing with weight plates. So I've got a few plates right here. You set this on the floor. You set a weight plate on top. Now the skinniness of this post means you can use both Olympic and standard plates. So it fits pretty much everything. The bottom piece is going to cover the whole of an Olympic size plate, definitely covers the whole of a standard plate. And then you just clip whatever attachment you want on here. And like I said, you can use it with the cable machine. You can basically use it for a variety of different things. And I'm going to go through a bunch of different uses and exercises that I've used this thing with and what I've come up with that I find are really, really effective with using the DMoose loading pin here. So as you can see, once it's on, very simple. And you can also see what I'm talking about with the rotation. If you start seeing this rotating, that means there is potential for that pin to basically unscrew itself. So before you start anything, make sure you're rotating that, keeping it nice and tight. But what I'm going to do now here is go through a bunch of exercises, a bunch of stuff that I've done with the loading pin, and it'll give you an idea of what you can do with this. So as you can see, there is literally a ton of things you can do with this loading pin. The only thing that limits you here is your imagination. I've done everything from chest stuff to back stuff to leg stuff to forearm stuff. Basically, there's a lot of things you can do only with something like this. The versatility of it is fantastic. The only real hitch, like I said, is the potential for this thing to unscrew. If it was one solid piece, I think that would be better, but I understand why they did it like they did it. For ease of shipping, this ships in a really small package, and you can even bring this to the gym with you if you wanted. Very compact in terms of size. It's not going to take up much room, but it's an incredibly versatile piece of training equipment. So again, you can get this from DMoose. This is a really nice little nifty thing. I think that's the first time I ever called a piece of equipment nifty, but that pretty much describes it to a T. I like this little piece of equipment a lot.